The grind mindset is a disease. So this was posted on our web dev 3 days ago, and I thought we could cover it because, relative to our web dev, it sort of blew up. 1,000 likes, 300 comments. We can have a look at those comments. So this is a job description for a tech lead. This may be the douchiest job description I've ever seen. We're looking for I find that hard to believe. We've seen some pretty bad ones. We're looking for the top 0.1% of engineers who consistently outperform their teammates as top code contributors, have proven they will do whatever it takes, 100-hour weeks, not just doing it, but proven. You got to prove that you go above and beyond and do 100-hour work weeks just to get the job. Possess 10,000 hours of full stack experience. You can lie about that. Have been early engineers at successful startups. Okay. So please understand and agree with our values before applying. In-person working, New York City, no remote hybrid. So they want you in every single day, including weekends, it sounds like. A players only. Only A players can hire A players. What does that even mean? Is he saying A players can hire? We'd rather hire one A player and pay an above market amount, fair enough, than hire someone that we're happy with, than hire 3 B players and pay market. Sure. Drive, you're hungry to do what it takes for us to win. You'll likely have a massive chip on your shoulder and a neurodivergent brain. Work is a key part of your identity. Everyone is neurodivergent these days, so that would be easy to find. Grind. We work, text on weekends and at night. It's okay to send messages at 3 a.m. You can send me a message at 3 a.m., but I'm telling you now, I'll be asleep at 9 p.m. Maybe not 9 p.m., but I do like going to bed quite early, to be honest, and waking up early. Although recently I have been going to bed at like 9, and then I do stay awake for an hour or two. Urgency. Do in a day what usually takes weeks. In a day. Run through walls to get things done. Respond in minutes or seconds instead of hours. I'm always quite good at responding, to be fair, at work. I just would rather do it before I forget about it. But obviously, if you're sending me a message at 3 a.m., you're not getting a response. Could you imagine the anxiety if you hear a Teams message at 3 o'clock in the morning because you've left your laptop on? No. And what's amazing is if you're like, I feel like we've all heard a lot of toxic things about Elon's companies like Tesla and SpaceX. But regardless of your thoughts on Elon, at least those are companies that you can market as changing the world, in the sense that not many people are doing space companies or trying to bring electric vehicles to market. So they had this toxic culture of what basically this job description is. But I think it works there. You can find people who are so passionate about space that they're willing to do this kind of relentless work. But if you're just building a crappy SaaS business, I'm sorry I said it, no one wants to do this. Why would you grind for 100 plus 120 hours a week trying to build some boring platform that hardly anyone's going to use? No. In fact, I went for an interview once, and it was in the finance sector, and he was like, the guy interviewing me said this job stresses me out every single day, and I was just like, I don't want that job. It's like, I don't know, it's boring. I don't want to stress out over something I don't care that much about. Urgency. Oh, we read that. Shameless. Be extremely annoying. That's me. I am extremely annoying, so I fit that criteria. If it means winning. Checking on things 10 times daily, double, quadruple, text. I've always done that as well. I've never been embarrassed to quadruple text. Fast firing. If someone isn't an A player, we part ways quickly. I actually think that's fair enough. Netflix do the same, and Netflix, if they don't like, I think it was Netflix, yeah. If they don't like you, they'll just pay you 3 months severance or something, which I think is fair enough. So like, get rid of people you don't actually want there. Please be okay with this. We do paid trials to help de-risk this. I think that's completely fair, actually, at that point. Mission driven. Well, obviously, I say this is completely fair, and I think it is. If you're moving to New York for this job, well, you just wouldn't, would you? Because you'd read that and you'd be like, okay, what if I moved to New York and a week later they fired me? So yeah, you'd probably you'd want to be living there already because it's not remote at all. So, they're expecting the person to take all of this risk, but not taking any risk themselves. Mission driven. Make anything go viral, as a mission sounds fun to you. Wear many hats. You can tell, you just know this is going to be like the most boring job as well. Wear many hats. No job is not your job. I've always had this attitude anyway. I'm always a bit bothered by people who are like, that's not my job. And it's like, you're just paid to solve problems at this company. It's like, just do it. So I kind of agree with that. That might be controversial. I don't think it is. I like people who are just willing to give anything a go. Because I end up having to help people, I feel like, all the time. with stuff that I would say isn't my job. I don't care. I don't see it that way. I see it as I get paid to solve problems. EV-based decision-making. Electric vehicle-based decision-making? No, I don't know what that is. No buying IBM because it's safe. I'm not sure what EV stands for here. It would be like, I don't know, probably like database. It's probably like something to do with data. I'm not sure. Customer first, no team first. It's our job to make things move fast. We dropped the ball if it kind of feels like we did. Yeah, again, I think, Amazon, again, regardless of your thoughts on Amazon and Jeff Bezos or whatever, they really took customer first to the next level, which is what made them so huge. So I think, again, customer first, for the most part, is probably a good policy for success. Flat company org, titles reflect scope, no political promotion games. That's good. There are parts of this that are extremely douchey, especially like these first parts. Some of these parts I think are fairly okay and pretty standard, I think, for like startup stuff. Let's see what the wonderful people of Reddit have to say. I would get hired and ping my boss daily at 3 a.m. with the smallest bug fix. What's this? Malicious compliance. Tell them to get out of bed and check. Yeah, this is definitely the place for malicious compliance. Moves button 3 pixels to the right. Yo, check this out. Yeah. Also expect your life expectancy to be shorter than average in the requirement. Absolutely. Sleep is like the most important thing, Even Bill Gates says that. I remember this is years ago. They said, do you have any regrets? And he just said, I wish I slept more. So it's just not healthy. 3 a.m. You're not going to get more done. In fact, I found that by doing less, you can actually sustain yourself for longer periods of time and be productive for longer periods of time. Whereas if I did this, I can tell you now, I would be burnt out within 2 months, and then I'd probably be unproductive for like a couple weeks, and then the cycle would begin again. I remember having a talk with one head of IT at a company I applied to. They openly said that the jobs here are a spectrum. You can either chill and learn lessons everywhere, or earn way more and then leave the company at 30 with a heart arrhythmia. Isn't there sort of some kind of proof that something like, I don't know if it's the power law, but most of the work gets done by a small percentage of people at a company, like most productive work. I don't know, I guess the power law is usually 20%, 80%. So in this particular case, it would be like 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. I don't think it's quite that, but I think it's something like that. I would have to sort of, again, this is something I probably read 10 years ago, so it's not really sharp in my mind. Pay 18.23. To be fair to them, they said they'd pay above market rate if they think you're worth it. If they want the top 1,000, they better be paying. I mean, they say that. Whether that's true or not. Just a summary of what's wrong with American work culture. An economy driven by sociopaths. Damn. Am I a sociopath? Because I kind of... Yeah. Well, I'm not. Don't worry. Let's see. What's cringe? A players, only A players. That's quite cringe. Top 0.1% of engineers. That's cringe. Yeah, you better be in that top 0.1% of pay, And you better have something that's interesting. If it's just a web app for, I don't know, banks or something, I don't know, it's just going to be extremely boring. What the F is a 1 hour work week? How? Why? Well, technically, they're talking about 7 days a week, right? So there's 168 hours in a week, I believe. 24 times 7. So that's more than 10 hours a day, That would only get you to 70. So you'd probably be, close to 15 hours a day. Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. Give up your soul and health to make us rich. Yeah, I think the plus 100 hours is delusional. And also, I don't think anyone's actually doing that. Like, how many of that is meetings? Also, weekend sprints. Weekend sprints. You know what a sprint is? They're saying a 2-day sprint. So you're going to have a Jira board for 2 days on the weekend. It reminds me where I used to work, and I don't care about saying this. They say you shouldn't speak ill of your companies, and I've worked at many places, and I wouldn't speak ill of any of them, except for one. I won't say who, obviously, but they would literally have 2 stand-ups a day. I would have a stand-up at 9:15 a.m. and 4:45 p.m. And so if you think about it, I'd finish at 5, and then you start again at 9, technically. They would ask, what have you got done since last stand-up? And you're like, well, last stand-up was 30 minutes ago. Delusional. Delusional. Who would respond to this? Yeah, I mean, can I just say, although some of the points I don't think are completely crazy, like fast firing, I would not be applying to this at all. It looks toxic. I don't want to work anywhere that's toxic. Having met a fair few tech leads, 100-hour work week startup, I can good faith say that only 0.1% demographic they fall into. Yeah, most people don't. Yeah, Burnout Inc. This is the big one for me. That's why I said I know myself, and I used to always burn myself out. It is a skill to learn to not burn yourself out. Now I just kind of get as much work as I can whilst knowing that I won't burn myself out, and I can deliver every single day, you know, or 90% of the time. The biggest BS here is the flat company org. Flat company org titles reflect scope. No political promotion games. Not a single company has this. I think it's possible you have this initially in a startup, but I think they are right. You'd still have at least one hierarchy. You'd have the people who own the company, right, who are in charge. They are your bosses. And you will have basically people who have more experience than you. You're not going to have a 20-year-old who's in a flat company org of someone who's like 50, you know, who's been doing this for 30 years. Not a single company has this. Even if they say so, you end up with a stubborn CEO who hired you to do what you do better than them, but still forced to do it their way. True. Don't need to read all of that. We'd rather pay above market amount for an A player. Translations will pay you below market rate either way. It's just that it would be slightly less crap. This company sounds like they are 100% dedicated to creating the biggest pile of tech debt possible in the shortest possible time. Probably. Yeah, this does sound like I guess they're talking about let's see, where was it? Grind, not urgency. Do in a day what usually takes weeks. We can do this. I can do this. This is called prototyping. I'm lucky enough that we sometimes have internal projects where we just kind of scope something out for a bit and then see how much we can get done, but it's not like a client ready thing. And yeah, you know, I can build a whole web app very quickly, and lots of people can now, especially with AI or LLMs. But it's like you're not creating good code that people can continue to work on for a long period of time, or even error messages and stuff like that, you know. So where did we get to? Yeah, this one. Guarantee that 99% of all those high-speed code contributions they seem to value so greatly are just certified borderline unreadable slop. Probably. Most really great code bases are ridiculously short and simple, yet take an awful long time to produce. I saw one recently here in the UK that said we typically work 16-hour days. That's like going back to the old days, you know? 16-hour days, 6 days a week. That's fine. That gives you 8 hours to sleep, you know? And then you can go again. I genuinely feel sorry for them. Hard to believe this is real. Even worse than this is the companies that expect this but don't advertise it. Yeah, that's kind of what I had. And the salary wasn't worth it. Every time this guy wrote a bullet point, he farted in a very decorated chalice and sniffed it like old country wine. Maybe I need to be harsher. Yeah, I guess a lot of it is douchey. Let's just go back. The ones I agree with, wear many hats. I don't mind that. I don't think that's particularly douchey. I think that's fine. No remote. While I don't agree, I think it's up. The company can decide that, you know. That's fine. I don't have a problem with them saying that. I just won't apply for you. Shameless. That's fine. But yeah, the rest is kind of crazy. Customer first, I don't think is that crazy either. But again, it's like, say, why not? When you specify not team first, I think the problem with this is that you can be customer centric, customer first, but that doesn't have to come at the expense of the team. You know, it's like this to me says it's fine to be rude to your colleagues or harass them if it helps the customer, which I just don't think is good either. You don't want a toxic work environment like that. Hard to believe this is real. We've read that. A bullet list on red flags. Yeah, mostly true. What the hell? They better be paying 100k a month. Above market pay. I wish this was satire. True. The exact job A players do not apply for. True. Yeah, because toxic. Imagine you were top 0.1%, right? If that's the expectation, you're not really gonna, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you'd rather go somewhere like Google, surely, where you're gonna get paid a lot and have job stability. Zero understanding of agile principles. Maintain a constant pace forever. True. Well, if it's paying $300 an hour for 100 hours, it's not a bad deal. This is true. This kind of job listing only attracts... Yeah, it does actually, doesn't it? Because no one can really do this for prolonged periods of time. Massive and numerous red flags, yeah. Come on, it's just rage bait. Probably. They want someone with ADHD. Do you know what? I didn't say this, but I kind of had the same thought. Especially with the quadruple texting thing. Why is this? This is so unhinged. Anybody knows what company this is? Yeah, I would love to know too, because I'm willing to bet it's like some really boring piece of software. You better have an interesting mission. I know I've said that a couple of times, but you can sell people on interesting futuristic stuff like the idea of SpaceX, you know, but not some SaaS business. I've worked on this role before, and it's intoxicating if you're into it. I just think things have changed. I don't think anyone really thinks that if you can get a lot of the, I was quite interested in like early 2000s Silicon Valley, and the TV shows Silicon Valley, HBO. Like I'd like that kind of vibe, and but now it just seems, I don't know. I feel like the culture shift has been too big, and it would just be more toxic now, and feels like everyone's, I don't know. I can't really articulate it. Where do I apply? I lost that EV-based decision making, completely fabricated with no connection return. Electric vehicle-based decision, that's why I said. Should we have a quick, it'll be some, like, data thing, won't it? Oh, yeah. What's this talking about? DuckDuckGo is a bit useless sometimes. I know I say that in every video. EV-respected value. Making choices based on the expected value of different options. Okay. So, to be fair, that's not... I know in the early days of Facebook, they always had a single question. So it's quite an interesting read, actually. There's that guy on YouTube, I think Noah Kagan or Noah Kagan, I'm not sure. But he talks about it. In the early days of Facebook, people were actually quite allowed to pretty much work on whatever they wanted, but fundamentally it had to meet one criteria. Will this help get more users, essentially? That was the only criteria. And that's, I guess, the value, expected value. Will this... Because if you implement something that doesn't help them grow, it was essentially just thrown in the bin. Quite interesting. Unpopular opinion, as long as they say their expectations clearly up front, that's great. I think that's also true. I think you can request anything you want, but you can still be delusional, of course. People can avoid them or at least know what the deal is. This is not even a shameless job description. This is written by edgy startuppers who think they are the next Apple, where they will go down in debt and bad engineers in 6 months. True. Usually there's a timer when I'm recording, but it's not there, so I can't see how long this video has been going on for. Let me guess, salary 58k. Come on, man, this is obviously a joke. I don't know. You can never be sure. They will be out of business in 3 years. Nah, 6 months. No, it depends how much money they've been invested, I guess. Expected salary, blah, blah, blah. That pay better be 7 figures. This sounds great for the startup. What does the candidate get here? Let me just check my Steam library so I can find out if I have 10k hours on full stack experience. Cool, not for me. I respect the honesty. Yeah, nice to have all the red flags in one place. Anyway, I have to get back to painting and decorating my new house. So, narcissistic workaholic bake. So I'm going to go, but leave a like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.